So the recipe that we are going to cover today, given that it's spring, given that we talked about allergies, yes, in common sense words, it's vegetable pulao. But what's the Ayurveda element to it? We are going to cook it with roasted rice. You make the food lighter and easier to digest. Hence, there's so much focus on cooked food versus so much of raw food. Rice, as we know, has a lot of earth and water element. So it's nourishing, all right, and we'll still be using ghee, although some people might think that it's spring, so you don't have to use ghee at all. But there has to be some amount of unctuousness, oiliness in your food, no matter what. Yes, you will cut down on the quantity. You can even exchange different kinds of oil. So if you were eating exclusively ghee, you can mix mustard oil. We're not going to talk about mustard oil here, but know that in spring, mustard oil is a beneficial thing to do. So anyway, we start with rice and we're going to dry roast it. The question that will come up, you can wash it afterwards. Or you can wash it and dry it and then do. You can also roast a bigger batch and keep it so that you can use smaller batches whenever you need to. And today I'm going to show you how to use carrots and peas. You can use some similar vegetables, but most important than everything is the use of methi or fenugreek leaves. If you can't find fresh fenugreek leaves, at least use the kasuri methi. This is dried methi leaves that's available at Indian stores. And our spice mix today is this blend that we have up for sale. This is excellent for the spring season. Remember we talked about pungent and bitter being our friends during this season? So more important than pungent is bitter right now, because some people who have a pitta constitution or have heat inside can cut down on the pungent part, but do keep the bitter aspect of things. So for example, the recipe that I'm going to show you includes garlic, ginger, and some black peppercorns. But if you feel it's too heating, you can reduce or eliminate. These are optional, but methi is not. Another bitter element that we'll add is turmeric, or we could have added, but our spice mix is complete with everything. This is all you need to do the cooking. And the ghee that I'm using for cooking is the same as that's one that is up for sale in these jars. Manasuri, what's the pricing for these?
That's $20 and $5 for the spice mix.
Manasuni is my student who has been, so everybody sees you. She's been helping me with all the cooking demos throughout all these years, and she has totally taken over the kitchen. She cooks for us, 70, 75 students at a time. Not an easy job by any standards. I moved out just at the right time. I used to cook for 40 and 50, and when it became too much to handle, I just handed it over to her. So as you can see, our rice has suddenly or not suddenly, slightly turning pink. And that's about all we need. We don't have to make it brown or dark or anything. And as I said, you can even dry roast it in advance and use small batches as and when needed. Now that this rice is roasted, Manaswini, can I ask you to just wash it and bring it back? If this was a Food Network show, the rice would have been really here. And this is how it looks like. Sorry, this is a reality show.
But why can't we wash the rice before? Why are we washing after roasting?
I said first, you can wash it and dry it in the sun and then dry roast it. Because if you wash it, then it won't gather as much heat.
Okay.
Because it's still wet.
Then after roasting you wash it?
Yeah. Because washing will not take away the heat element that you put into it.
No, I have never heard or seen before. This is the first time.
What's the purpose of dry roasting? Is it to
Inducing or infusing heat. So when you infuse heat, you're making things lighter and easier to digest. And as Shunya said, what we digest and what we do not digest, that's what we become.
do people do this to, does it result in tamarind? Is that also a benefit to dry roasting tamarind?
Generally speaking, sour taste is not highly recommended in this season. You can have a little bit of sour, but not too much. Very little sour, it's fine. So, here's our washed rice that was dry roasted. Okay, so we will start with first things first. Ghee. There was a time when I used to do cooking demos with a jar of ghee sitting here, and I used to pour it like this. One time my mom saw one of my videos and she was like, if I was there, I would have corrected you right on the spot. Since then, Manaswini has brought this jar. She said, is that what you're teaching your students? Using the whole jar? So, anyway. Those of you who have been here previously probably know very well that I'm not very good with measurements. Okay, I'm an accountant in my everyday life. I'm very exact there. I don't have to do any. So this is my way out of it. All right, so the key is here. Going to add some, oh, speaking of the measurement, this is a little more than 1 cup of rice. Using some zira or cumin seed. Fenugreek seeds are very helpful during the spring season, so let's just add a little bit. You have to be careful with fenugreek seeds because they are bitter, and if you put too much of it, it will become very bitter. Same goes with turmeric. This is also a natural and everyday use bitter taste. Speaking of spices, you should use them on a regular basis. Just because something is too good doesn't mean I was talking too much. Should have added the garlic first. And the ginger. Again, as I said, ginger and garlic you can avoid if you have too much heat in your body. But remember to use methi. So we're seeing methi in three forms. Methi seeds, dried methi leaves, and fresh methi leaves. Speaking of spices, you should use them in small quantities, but on a regular daily basis. You can't say that, okay, I missed my 1 week or 2 weeks of turmeric, so I'm going to have a spoonful of it and be done for the rest of 2 weeks. That's not how it works. So we'll take these methi leaves, which the stems have been removed. Manaswini, do you have the one with stems and everything so people can... I'm going to finely chop this. Finely could mean different things for different people. Manaswini is so good, she even brings a matching knife for me. Carrots are sweet, but they are slightly heating as well, so you can use these. Avoid using potatoes in this season. We're going to add some peas. And the methi. This is meal by itself. Don't need anything else. One of the most important pieces, salt. What kind of salt do we use? Rock salt, or Sangha as it is called. Do you smell anything? I don't. Okay, so at this point I'm going to add the rice. And our spring mix. Don't use a spoon then. So use this spice mix carefully, don't put too much of it, otherwise it will get very bitter. It may get very bitter. Now I saw it. Excellent. So the key in the spice mix has been made by Manaswini. The ghee was made on a full moon night with mantras being chanted. And although it's not part of, it's more of a oral tradition, but you can imagine the qualities, the good qualities that the mantras would infuse. So I'm going to add water at this stage. How much water, everybody asks me. The rule of thumb is if you're making a small batch, like 1 or 2 cups, so dip your finger and the water should be up to this level. And use your hands, these are the best tools you'll ever get in any kitchen. Anybody have a problem if I dip my fingers and you won't taste it?
So that's from the surface of the rice, Sanjay?
Yes. So from the surface of the rice, it should be about this much water. this point, you cover, let it cook. Just don't walk away from here because otherwise you run the risk of burning it. Okay, while we were talking about Rajasic and Sattvic, our pulao is cooked. It's good. Did I give a good pause? So we are ready to sample it.